Starter Pokemon are super popular and great, and pretty much everyone has a starter that is amongst their favorite Pokemon ever. But here's a thought, what if those starters evolved into completely different Pokemon than they do now? What if their final evolutions, which are always hotly anticipated, were completely different Pokemon altogether? Well, that is what we are going to explore today as we create brand new final evolutions for the starter Pokemon of the Kanto region. Before we begin though, it's important to note that I'm not just redesigning Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise. Rather, I'm going to be creating completely brand new Pokemon that the Kanto starters could evolve into based on certain aspects of their design, if this were some alternate timeline where their actual evolutions didn't exist. With that said though, you could also look at these new designs as branched evolutions if you wanted to as well. All in all, this is just a fun experiment, and it's all made possible thanks to the wonderful support of today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. You've probably heard about Raid before, but if you haven't played it yet, you should seriously give it a shot. The game is free to play on both mobile devices and PC, and it's a very well-made RPG experience, giving you a great story to experience, tons of different champions you can collect and add to your team, awesome features that make the game fun and convenient to play, and lots of really cool bosses to face off against. A couple of my favorite bosses are the Fire Knight and Princess of Vila, Guardian of the Magic Keep. Each boss has their own set of strengths and require their own unique strategy in order to defeat, meaning they're always going to keep you on your toes and provide a true challenge, and there are a ton of bosses to face off against as well. That is just the beginning of what Raid offers though, as they are always adding a ton of new content each month, including a bunch of new champions and a new rotation for the Doom Tower, and that is coming in just this month alone. So what are you waiting for? You can download Raid for free today using the link in the description, and when you do, you're gonna get 200,000 silver, an XP boost, an energy refill, and an ancient shard to summon the amazing champion Shinoru, who you'll also be getting just by grabbing the game with the link below. Once you're in, you'll find your goodies right here for the next 30 days, and with that, you'll be all ready to kick some butt. So click that link below to download now, and thank you again to Raid for supporting the channel. Alrighty, so on to the Pokemon now. We're going to start with Bulbasaur, because he's number one of course, so if Venusaur didn't exist, what kind of alternate path could Bulbasaur and Ivysaur take upon evolving into their final stage? Well, looking at both Ivysaur and Venusaur, their Pokédex entries frequently mention them needing to bathe in sunlight so the flower on their back can bloom, and it even mentions that if Ivysaur is doing this frequently, it is likely that its flower will bloom soon and it'll evolve. I decided to make this aspect of these Pokemon the key point of their alternate evolution by creating an evolution of Ivysaur who didn't get enough sunlight and its flower wilted instead of bloomed. This is Shadowsaur, and upon evolving from Ivysaur, it drops the Poison type and gains the Dark type instead. The Dark type has a double meaning here because it refers to this Pokemon growing resentful, angry, and jealous that its flower wasn't able to bloom, which has forced it to rely on and increase its own physical strength as well. But the Dark type also refers to the lack of sunlight it received that resulted in it evolving into this form, which makes Shadowsaur in particular a good concept for a branched evolution of Ivysaur, which I think would be really cool to incorporate into actual starter Pokemon someday. Its name also comes from shadow, referring to the lack of sunlight it's received, and the same "saur" suffix that its pre-evolutions names have. For good measure, here is its shiny form as well, and since I really like it when Pokemon have meanings behind their shinies, this coloration could refer to the Poison type that this Pokemon lost upon evolving, meaning that its shiny could possibly be an evolutionary in-between point, if you will, where it is still transitioning into becoming its own unique species. Next, we come to Charmander, and before we start on Charmander, I just want to mention that the artwork for these Pokemon was done by Alestava076. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter, and you should really go check him out and give him a follow, because he obviously deserves it. Okay, so with that said, what kind of alternate evolution could we possibly give to Charmander and Charmeleon that could live up to the hype and glory that is Charizard? Well, while I'm not trying to improve on or replace Charizard or anything, I do have a pretty good idea for an alternate evolution. The one distinct thing about the Charmander line is that they are based around salamanders, hence Charmander's name. You wouldn't normally think of a salamander Pokemon as a fire type though, but the reason why the Charmander line are fire type has to do with the legends and folklore surrounding salamanders, particularly of the medieval variety. In medieval folklore, salamanders were often associated with fire, so because these Pokemon's typings have roots in legends and folklore, I thought it would be perfect to create an evolution that embraces this and becomes part fairy type as well. Meet Charathos, a fire fairy type evolution of Charmander and Charmeleon. In addition to this typing fitting really well with the inspiration, it's also a typing that has yet to occur officially within Pokemon as well, which makes it all the cooler. Thanks to the fairy typing, its flames and overall coloration have turned a little more magical looking, and its name also comes from Char, just like its pre-evolutions, and Mythos, referring to its inspirations of folklore. This is its shiny form, and yes, it is black like shiny Charizard, but this comes from the fact that many salamanders are primarily black in color. I don't know if that's where Charizard gets it or not, but it works out pretty good here, so I'm gonna use it. Finally, we arrive at the Squirtle family. Blastoise is a classic Pokemon for sure, and actually my favorite of the 3 Kanto starter evolutions, but what if Squirtle and Wartortle evolved into something different instead? Well, when looking at exactly what else they could evolve into, I looked into Wartortle a little more closely, and easily the most distinct thing about Wartortle's design comes from its Pokedex entries, where it mentions that Wartortle can live to be 10,000 years old. I decided to take this trait and run with it and create an alternate evolution for Wartortle that emphasizes this ancient elderly age. Meet Turtelder. This one is easily my favorite of the 3 designs we have showcased today, because I think it looks so cool and works so well. Borrowing the old concept from Wartortle makes for a great basis for a completely new Pokemon, and the fact that it's also the final evolution as well is just the icing on the cake. Its shell even gained a humpback like an actual old man, so what is there not to love here? It does retain the pure water typing simply because the old theming doesn't really lean in the direction of any one other type except maybe Ghost, but he's not really ghostly either, so pure water it is. I'm cool with that because like I said, I think it got the best design of the 3. Its name, meanwhile, is pretty straightforward, coming from Turtle and Elder, and its shiny gains this nice sea foamy green color, because, well, it's a turtle and it's water type, and it also looks good, too. So those are our 3 alternate Kanto starter evolutions. What do you think of them? Which one's your favorite? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to let me know if you'd like to see this for the other starters as well, because I would love to do it if this video does well enough. Also, be sure to check out Alestiva076 with the link below, and a huge thank you to him for his amazing work. With that said, I will see you all very soon with another video, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and until then, as always, I love you guys, thanks for watching, and I will smell you guys later.